Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Another day in the dark without power for hundreds of thousands of people in Metro Detroit. This is a live look in Wayne County, where communities are cleaning up from Wednesday's ice storm and the wind that moved in yesterday. Right now, nearly 468,000 DTE customers are still without power. That's nearly a quarter of all of the company's customers. But DTE is hoping to make a dent in these outages throughout the day today and over the weekend. The president of DTE says that the utility is assigning crews to 200,000 homes. Nearly 4,000 crews are out working right now. And the efforts to get the power back on tops our news this noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rhonda Walker. DTE says that it's still hoping to have power restored to nearly everyone by the end of the weekend. That's not until Sunday, and these homes don't have heat without the electricity. We want to get out to Sean Lay, who joins us now live on Detroit's West Side. And Sean, I know you're in a neighborhood near Hubble and Puritan, and it's in the dark as well.
In the dark, and now with these temperatures in the cold. People are cold in their homes here. And we want to point out, we'll be calling DTE right after our news report here at noon. It's a big job. They're spread out, but they need a crew here. There was one here about 10 minutes ago, but they left. You see the yellow tape here. It reads, "Danger, live wire." And when you talk about when the wires come down, look how thin that wire is. That's an electrical wire that came down sometime Wednesday during the ice. We're standing here on a Friday. The line is still down. We can confirm it's no longer hot, but you can see how long it burned there. There's like a char and a ditch where that sizzled there. And there's more to tell you about this particular line here on the west side. We'll show you some video. We came up here about a half hour ago, directed by Detroit firefighters, saying they had an engine sitting here for hours on Thursday and even this morning to make sure no one came by. Anyone walking a dog or a child that would even touch that wire would just be absolutely catastrophic. So Detroit Fire was waiting for DTE, and a truck did come up and was babysitting the wire as well. It wasn't a truck to fix the wire. It was a truck of DTE employees waiting at the wire. They have since left, so we will contact DTE and see if they can get a truck out here to get this wire back up, or at least make sure it's absolutely no danger remains here. The big picture here, block after block after block, house after house after house. No power here in the city of Detroit. So many different neighborhoods without power, so many people very cold right now, waiting to get some attention from DTE. Rhonda?
All right, Sean, thank you. We're also monitoring updates from DTE on the efforts to restore power. We'll have those very latest updates for you throughout the day on our homepage of clickondetroit.com. Of course, the weather plays a big role in the DTE crews being able to get the job done. And with all of that ice from yesterday, Ashley, then the high winds, that made it incredibly difficult and dangerous.
Absolutely. But luckily, we're starting to see some progression in the forecast so those crews can get out there and do really what they need to do to restore all these power outages. So here's a look at our current map at this noon hour. Still, Wayne County seems to be the most impacted, up into Oakland County, but Washtenaw, Macomb County is not far behind. So we haven't seen a huge difference from this morning, but I know those crews are out there working diligently. Let's go ahead and take a look at what caused all of those power outages. The ice that was on these tree branches, power lines, but it was picturesque. So thank you to one of our MyPix viewers on our Forewarn Weather app for sending in this gorgeous photo over at Heritage Park in Taylor. We've started to see a lot of that ice melt. In fact, some of the gusty winds dried us out, so road conditions were not bad as we started off today. But counting down the days to spring, 24 days until we get to that date of March 20th. All right, right now, taking a look outside, 28 degrees in Detroit, a little sunshine, 25 in Howell, and 23 in Pontiac, with a northwesterly breeze that's giving us a wind chill. This afternoon, though, we're just going to top out right where we're at right now, 28 degrees, but expect some flurries to roll in tonight. We'll time that out for you in your full forecast, but remember, you can take radar with you on the go with our Forewarn Weather app. If you haven't downloaded it already, do so today, and you can download it for free in your app store.
All right, Ashley, thank you. Well, today marks one full year since Russia invaded Ukraine, sparking a humanitarian crisis that continues to this day. Ukraine's president marked the day with a moment of silence and gave out hero awards to troops and the relatives of soldiers who have been killed. Jay Gray is along the Poland-Ukraine border where many families fled to escape the fighting.
Well, for a full year now, refugees have been pouring across the border from Ukraine into Poland, and nowhere has it been busier than here, the Medyka crossing. In the last year, more than 1 million refugees have come through these gates and into Poland. Of course, some moving on further into Europe, even over to the U.S. And the stream continues, not nearly as intense as it was at the beginning of the war, but still overall 20,000 or more a day leave Ukraine and move into Poland. But understand, these borders are a revolving door now. So you've got the families coming in looking for shelter, looking for safety, but you've also got people going back to Ukraine with much needed supplies, and of course some of them joining the fight along the front lines. There is concern that the number of refugees will continue to grow, that this humanitarian crisis will continue to expand, especially if, like most military analysts believe, the fighting intensifies over the next several months. So we'll get into the spring, and that'll make ground war easier for the troops to move, the tanks to get in and out, and so that's going to escalate things. And so they do expect to see more people moving into Poland. The problem for so many of the towns, the villages, even the major cities like the capital city of Warsaw, is that they've reached their limit in a sense. There's just nowhere else for refugees to go. It's been a burden on the budget, obviously, on city and social services, and so they've been reaching out to neighbors here in Europe, to the U.S. to try and ease that burden, and the response has been positive. But again, even a year into all of this, it's still very new and very rapidly changing at times. Again, it would appear that this humanitarian crisis that starts at the border is going to continue to expand as the war does the same. That's the latest right now from here at the Medyka border crossing in Poland. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you. This morning, the U.S. imposed a new round of sanctions against Russia in coordination with G7 allies. Here at home, there are 2 big freeway closures this weekend that you need to know about in Oakland County as construction projects are beginning to ramp up again. Both directions of I-75 are going to be closed. The section is between I-696 to Square Lake Road, and that starts at 11 p.m. tonight. Crews will be shifting traffic for the next phase of that massive project that's set to rebuild all of I-75 through that area. This time, the focus is on 13 Mile to 696, but again, between I-75 between 696 and Square Lake will be closed. The freeway will reopen on Monday morning, but you may want to give yourself some extra time during that commute as well. And then over to the other freeway closure, that's I-696, where crews will be shutting down both the westbound lanes from Telegraph to I-75, and that will be the westbound lanes only. That starts at 8 p.m. tonight. When it reopens Monday morning, the westbound lanes will only have 2 lanes open. This year, crews are going to be rebuilding the eastbound lanes from I-275 to all the way to Evergreen. Next year, it will be the westbound lanes. So that is something you have to adjust to this weekend, and then as we get into the next several months. Still ahead, a major air fryer recall, the brand recalling millions of fryers because they could spark a fire. And an Olympic gold medalist, Meryl Davis, joins us to talk about a fun event that is happening in downtown Detroit this weekend that she's going to be a part of. So we'll be talking with her live in a moment.